So we were talking about conifers last week, and I'm talking about broadleaf trees this week. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the difference between broadleaf trees and conifer trees. So I'm specifically saying broadleaf trees and conifer trees because not all conifers are evergreen and not all broadleaf trees are deciduous. The majority of conifers are evergreen and the majority of broadleaf trees are deciduous, but it's not every single leaf. So here's a broadleaf tree and here's a conifer tree. So all conifers have reduced leaves. They all have some kind of needle-like leaf. You remember the cedar had a more scaly, but they're not like these beautiful broad leaves. These are adapted to surviving desiccation, dry winters or dry mountains or dry deserts. You see these in conditions like the far north where there's a cold winter and they can keep photosynthesizing longer. These guys, they can't survive dry periods and cold periods, so they lose their leaves in the winter. The other neat thing about the conifers is they all have cones. So I've got a twig with a cedar cone here. That's what a cone looks like on a cedar tree. The broadleaf trees are flowering plants. Every single broadleaf tree has a flower. You might not have seen all of them. Oranges and apples and cherries have very beautiful, conspicuous flowers. But maple trees and oak trees have flowers too. They're just smaller and better hidden. Because conifer trees don't have flowers, they have cones, they are pollinated by the wind. They dependent on wind pollination. They were around before there were insects. They were around before there were birds and bats. Conifer trees had to rely on wind pollination. But the broadleaf trees have evolved with insects, with birds and bats. So they have flowers. The reason why trees have flowers is to attract insect pollinators. So when we talk about gymnosperms versus the rest of the trees, gymno we talked about being naked seed. That's in comparison to the broadleaf fruit, which all have some kind of fruit protecting that seed, even if that fruit is an acorn or a maple key. But you do sometimes see some conspicuous fruit like cherries. That is the difference between conifer trees and broadleaf trees.